It costs $25,000 a year to incarcerate someone, but only $2,500 for a year of educational programming. Yet fear of looking soft on crime creates a political stalemate, locking society into an expensive failure instead of a more effective solution. When someone finally completes their sentence, they step out into the second prison. This is a web of invisible barriers, the absence of housing, the weight of social stigma, and deep isolation that traps individuals the moment they leave. Prison fellowship programs distinguish between two approaches to change. Rehabilitation addresses an individual's personal habits, like overcoming addiction. Restoration, however, repairs a person's fractured relationships and reintegrates them into a community. Lasting re-entry is impossible without first rebuilding the human ties that anchor a person to the outside world. A platform called Flikshop facilitates these anchors by turning digital photos into physical postcards delivered directly to inmates. Each postcard costs exactly 79 cents. For less than $1, families can bypass the high costs and logistical red tape that usually isolate people in prison from their loved ones. Data shows a direct link between this type of consistent contact and a reduction in recidivism, the rate at which people return to prison after being released. As communication increases, the likelihood of reoffending drops. While a 79-cent postcard maintains hope, an individual ultimately needs an economic engine to survive once they are back on the street. To build those engines, private social impact and faith-driven entrepreneurs are developing business models that bypass government gridlock. Beekeeper School trains formerly incarcerated individuals in sustainable agriculture, providing them with the specialized skills needed to manage hives and harvest honey. They utilize a Santa Clara cottage license, a specific permit that allows them to legally produce and store their honey inside home-based kitchens. By stripping away the need for expensive commercial factories, this model allows returning citizens to become profitable, self-sustaining entrepreneurs almost immediately. Expanding these businesses requires capital, but most ex-offenders have zero credit history. To investors, they often look like high-risk liabilities. The solution is the safe note, or simple agreement for future equity. Seed money is invested today for equity later, protected by a valuation cap between $350,000 and $450,000. This ensures the investor's share is calculated at a set ceiling, regardless of future growth. This moves the conversation from charity to a calculated, risk-mitigated bet on an individual's future growth. When smart financial instruments cap the downside, private capital flows to returning citizens whom banks previously viewed as untouchable liabilities. On a larger scale, organizations like CityLab Professional, or CLP, act as a pipeline for local employment in high-tech fields. CLP cohorts learn technical skills like computer coding, data analytics, and drone operation, preparing them for industries where their labor is in high demand. By shifting the focus to future-proof technical skills, society transforms a former taxpayer burden into a competitive asset in the modern workforce. Permanently breaking the cycle of incarceration relies on physical, community-level infrastructure to support those newly learned skills. Under the Summer Dreams initiative, investors fund the acquisition of neglected properties within a community. CLP apprentices, all returning citizens, are then paid to renovate these properties, gaining union-backed on-the-job training. This creates a self-sustaining loop. The renovated buildings become affordable housing, generating rental revenue that flows directly back into funding the training program for the next cohort. This engine revitalizes decaying neighborhoods while providing permanent employment for the people living in them. To take this model nationwide, we look at innovation bonds, partnerships where private investors front capital for social programs. The government only repays investors if the program hits data-driven targets, like a 10% drop in recidivism. Incentives like earned time credits are used alongside these bonds, offering reduced sentences to incarcerated individuals who successfully complete the training pipeline. This is the scalable blueprint, starting with a 79-cent point of human contact, moving to a smarter safe note investment, and finishing with a macroeconomic bond. This strategy targets a massive, untapped market where society earns a financial return and a safer community because it invested in a second chance.